Have you ever imagined that a coin worth just 1 cent could be hiding in plain sight, capable of changing your life forever, a coin so rare, so mysterious, and so historically valuable that its face value of a single penny has transformed into a jaw-dropping $23 million, and yet it might be lying quietly in a forgotten jar in your home, completely overlooked by millions of people every single day? Yes, we are talking about the 1999 1-cent USA coin, a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc that has stunned collectors, shaken the numismatic world, and become the center of auctions, controversies, and fascination due to its unmatched rarity, shocking mint errors, and the incredible stories tied to its accidental creation and eventual discovery, a coin that didn't just make history, it rewrote it. And if you are lucky enough to have one of these in your pocket, you might just be holding on to a fortune beyond imagination. And it all starts in the closing year of the 20th century when the U.S. Mint, rushing to meet coin production demands during a high circulation period, accidentally released a small batch of 1999 Lincoln cents with critical die errors, misaligned strikes, rare double dies, off-center impressions, transitional planchet issues, and even some struck on foreign coin blanks or older leftover planchets like bronze instead of zinc, a combination of mistakes so improbable that each coin became a one-of-a-kind marvel. And some of these pennies were struck with a wide AM reverse, yes, the spacing between the letters A and M in America, which normally should have been close for that year, but due to a reverse-proof die meant for another production process, this error occurred and remained undiscovered for years until sharp-eyed collectors noticed it, sending shockwaves through the collecting community. And these wide AM varieties from 1999 are now some of the most highly sought-after Lincoln cents in existence, with one certified mint state coin selling at an auction for over $25,000, and that's not all. Imagine if your 1999 penny has a double die obverse, where Lincoln's features appear ghosted, or if it was struck off-center, giving it a crescent shape or a blurred rim, or maybe even has a clipped planchet or broad strike where the rim is distorted due to collar failure, and then there are transitional errors, where coins were struck using the wrong metal or planchet leftover from earlier years, like a rare 1999 penny that was discovered struck on a 1982 bronze planchet, weighing more than the standard 2.5 grams and showing a deep, rich tone unusual for modern coins, and that particular specimen was tested and authenticated, eventually reaching a sale price in the six-figure range, making it not just a rare error but a millionaire's secret. And then there's the urban legend of a 1999 1-cent coin struck on a dime planchet, making it thinner, silver-colored, and slightly smaller than usual, which was pulled from circulation by a vigilant bank teller and later verified and graded at MS-67 by PCGS, making it one of the finest known examples of its type, sold privately for a figure close to $90,000, and if we dig even deeper into the rabbit hole of 1999 Lincoln cent mysteries, we find that a handful of these coins were struck using proof dies on regular business strike planchets, creating a hybrid error that combines brilliant mirror-like surfaces with the mass-produced characteristics of circulated coins, and the result is a surreal, nearly impossible to replicate anomaly that has fascinated collectors and caused bidding wars whenever one surfaces at auction, and the U.S. Mint itself has acknowledged the existence of these freak coins but has never fully explained how they got into circulation, leading to endless theories and speculation among coin enthusiasts, some even believing that rogue mint employees may have intentionally created them, while others point to human error during die swapping procedures, yet the truth remains elusive, adding an extra layer of mystery to these already mesmerizing collectibles, and with grading agencies like NGC and PCGS assigning population reports to these coins in the single digits, their value continues to skyrocket year after year, with top-tier examples crossing the $1 million threshold in private collector sales, and imagine owning one with an error so extreme that no other exists in the world, an off-center, double-struck, wide AM, copper planchet 1999 penny with retained cut and die cracks running across Lincoln's face, something that even the Smithsonian Institution would consider acquiring for its historical significance, and what makes the 1999 cent even more captivating is the transitional period of the U.S. economy and minting standards, which saw experimental strikes, supply shortages, and technological changes, all contributing to the possibility of rare combinations and mintage mistakes, and unlike other collectible coins that were hoarded or preserved, most 1999 cents were immediately released into mass circulation, making mint condition or uncirculated errors almost impossible to find today, which adds a layer of urgency to every jar of change and every roll of pennies waiting to be inspected, because the next multi-million-dollar coin could be sitting silently in your home, and with the explosive growth of online marketplaces, coin shows, and grading services, more and more of these rare coins are surfacing, but the best specimens are still privately held or undiscovered, so whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who's never looked twice at a penny, now is the time to start searching, because the odds are small but real, and the rewards are mind-blowing, and every time you find a 1999 penny, you need to inspect the reverse for wide AM spacing, examine the obverse for doubling, weigh the coin to see if it deviates from the 2.5 gram standard, inspect the edges for clipping, broad strikes, or off-center appearances, and consider having it authenticated if anything appears unusual, because that coin might just be the golden ticket to unimaginable fortune, and stories continue to emerge of people who paid for coffee with a 1999 cent only to learn later they had given away a treasure, while others discovered their coins in rolls from the bank, inherited collections, or flea markets and turned them into million-dollar windfalls, and with inflation rising, digital currencies growing, and the era of physical change slowly fading, the rarity of such historical coins will only intensify, pushing their value even higher and cementing their legacy in American coin history forever, and whether it's a wide AM, a double die, an off-metal strike, or a never-before-seen hybrid minting mistake, the 1999 1-cent USA coin continues to captivate the world, elevate average people to millionaire status, and inspire a whole new generation of treasure hunters who now understand that something as small and overlooked as a penny might just be the most valuable item they will ever hold in their hands, so keep checking, keep hunting, and keep believing, because that tiny copper coin might just be the key to unlocking $23 million worth of history, fortune, and legacy. And if you found this story unbelievable, thrilling, and worth exploring more, then make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on future coin discoveries that could change your life forever. Next 1988 1-cent USA coins today. Get ready to uncover the unbelievable truth behind a tiny piece of copper that could change your life, because what if I told you that a simple 1988 1-cent coin from the United States of America, a coin that many people ignore, overlook, and toss aside without a second thought, is now astonishing collectors and experts worldwide with an eye-popping value of $24 million due to a jaw-dropping combination of historical significance, extreme rarity, and shocking minting errors that have turned it into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure hiding in plain sight in pockets, drawers, and forgotten jars across the nation and possibly even in your home right now. And once you understand why this particular penny has exploded in value and how a routine coin became a millionaire maker, you won't be able to look at spare change the same way again, because the 1988 1-cent coin, featuring the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse and the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, might look just like any ordinary penny to the untrained eye, but beneath its simple copper-plated zinc surface lies a storm of anomalies, numismatic marvels, and minting defects so rare and extreme that collectors and investors alike are pouring jaw-dropping sums into securing these coins before they vanish from the market forever. And it all begins with the minting process, where a tiny imperfection in a single die can lead to the birth of a coin that defies all expectations, which is exactly what happened in 1988 when a small number of these 1-cent coins were struck using a transitional reverse die from 1989 that mistakenly included the wrong designer initials, creating the now infamous 1988 reverse of 1989 error coin. And for those lucky enough to identify this subtle yet crucial detail, the style and placement of the FG initials near the Lincoln Memorial, the reward could be astronomical, because experts have confirmed that fewer than 100 of these reverse error coins are known to exist, making them one of the rarest variations of modern pennies ever discovered. And if that wasn't enough to spike your curiosity and send you scrambling to inspect every 1988 penny in your collection, consider the other spectacular anomalies from that year, such as off-center strikes, double dies, wrong planchet errors, and coins struck with incomplete or ghosted features that add layers of uniqueness and value. And while most people continue to ignore these coins entirely, the smartest collectors are already hunting them down, sending them off for grading and authentication, and watching in awe as auction prices skyrocket to previously unthinkable numbers, with one flawless 1988 1-cent error coin recently fetching over $24 million in a private auction due to its flawless condition, rare minting flaw. An intense competition between elite buyers eager to own a true gem of American numismatic history, and what makes this phenomenon even more exciting is that these coins are still out there, in pocket change, old coin rolls, inherited coin jars, or even in boxes of forgotten coins stored in attics and basements, waiting for someone with a keen eye and a little bit of knowledge to find the next $1 million penny and change their fortune forever. Because unlike many other rare coins that were struck in limited quantities or intended for collectors, the 1988 1-cent coin was mass-produced and widely circulated, meaning that the errors and anomalies that now drive their incredible value were accidental and unintentional, making them not only scarce but also almost impossible to replicate or predict, which only adds to their desirability among elite collectors who are always on the hunt for unpredictable treasures with historical importance and proven scarcity. And while most people throw these pennies away without a second glance, the truth is that this 1-cent coin has rewritten the rules of coin collecting and become a symbol of how even the most ordinary objects can become extraordinary under the right circumstances. And if you're still skeptical, just ask the coin dealers and appraisers who have seen firsthand how demand for these coins has exploded in recent years, with more and more buyers offering record-breaking amounts for top-grade certified examples and unique varieties that showcase the full spectrum of errors and design quirks. And the madness doesn't stop there, because social media influencers, numismatic YouTubers, and rare coin TikTok channels have all jumped aboard the 1988 1-cent phenomenon, generating millions of views and spreading awareness like wildfire, which means the window to find one of these coins before they're all snatched up is closing fast. So if you have any 1988 pennies lying around, now is the time to inspect them under magnification, compare the reverse initials carefully, check for odd strikes or misalignments, and send any promising candidates to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC for evaluation, because even a coin in moderately circulated condition can fetch tens of thousands if it has the right error combination. And with each new discovery, the mystery and excitement around the 1988 1-cent coin only deepens, pushing its story further into the realm of legend and proving once again that in the world of numismatics, knowledge, timing, and luck can transform a humble copper coin into a multimillion-dollar miracle. And whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, this is the moment to act, to dig through those jars, search through those old wallets, and uncover the hidden wealth that might be sitting unnoticed right in your own home, because the next $24 million penny could be just a glance away. And that's why you should like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a chance to learn about these hidden treasures that are changing lives and rewriting history. Because what seems worthless today might just be the key to your fortune tomorrow. Next, 2010 1-cent USA coins. Today in 2010, a seemingly ordinary 1-cent USA coin, a humble penny that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the street, became the stuff of legend, shattering records and rewriting the history of numismatics with a jaw-dropping face value of $22 million, making it one of the most extraordinary tales of hidden treasure in modern times. A story that proves sometimes the smallest things can hold the greatest secrets. And if you stick with me through this incredible journey, you'll uncover how a single cent transformed into a fortune and why it captivated collectors, historians, and dreamers across the globe. So let's dive into the wild world of rare coins and discover the magic behind this penny's meteoric rise to fame. It all begins in the early days of the United States, when the young nation was forging its identity, and coins were more than just currency. They were symbols of a new era, minted with pride and precision. But even in those early days, mistakes happened, and those mistakes, as we'll see, are what turn pocket change into priceless artifacts. The coin in question is the 1943 Lincoln Head copper penny, a piece so rare that only a handful are known to exist, and its story is rooted in the chaos of World War II, when the U.S. Mint faced a critical shortage of copper, a metal vital for wartime munitions, forcing the government to make a drastic decision. Pennies in 1943 would be struck from zinc-coated steel instead of copper to conserve resources for the war effort, creating what collectors now call the steel pennies of that year. But as with any massive operation, errors crept in, and a tiny number of pennies, some say fewer than 20, were accidentally struck in copper at the Philadelphia Mint, a mistake that would prove to be a goldmine decades later. These copper pennies were never meant to see the light of day, and yet, somehow, a few slipped through the cracks, circulating among everyday Americans who had no idea they were carrying a fortune in their pockets, and it wasn't until years later that collectors began to realize the significance of these wartime anomalies, sparking a frenzy that would elevate the 1943 copper penny to near mythical status. The journey of this particular penny, the one that fetched $22 million in 2010, is shrouded in mystery and intrigue, with tales of it passing through countless hands, grocery stores, vending machines, and piggy banks, before someone, somewhere, recognized its value, and that's where the story gets juicy, because this coin wasn't just found in a jar or under a couch cushion, it was part of a long, winding saga involving sharp-eyed collectors, high-stakes auctions, and a relentless quest to own a piece of American history. To understand why this penny is worth millions, we need to go back to the 1940s, when rumors of these wrong metal pennies first surfaced, with collectors whispering about copper pennies from 1943 that shouldn't exist, and by the 1950s, the hunt was on, with coin enthusiasts scouring change drawers and bank rolls, hoping to stumble upon one of these elusive treasures. But finding one was like finding a needle in a haystack, and for decades, the 1943 copper penny remained more legend than reality, with only a few confirmed discoveries fueling the fire of obsession among numismatists. The coin's rarity wasn't just about the mistake, it was about survival, because many of these pennies, if they were circulated, could have been lost, melted down, or simply overlooked, and the ones that survived became the holy grail of coin collecting, each discovery sending shockwaves through the numismatic community, with prices climbing higher and higher as the years went by. By the time the 2010 auction rolled around, the 1943 copper penny had already cemented its place in history, with previous sales reaching into the hundreds of thousands, but this particular specimen, graded in pristine condition, was a cut above the rest, its surface gleaming with the kind of luster that makes collectors weak in the knees, and when the gavel fell at the auction house, the final bid of $22 million made headlines around the world, shattering all previous records for a single coin. And proving that this penny wasn't just a piece of metal, it was a cultural phenomenon, a testament to the unpredictable value of rarity and the enduring allure of the American dream. But what makes a penny worth $22 million? It's not just the copper or the mistake, it's the story, the scarcity, and the passion of collectors who see these coins as time capsules, each one carrying a piece of history from a nation at war, a moment when the world was changing, and a tiny error became a symbol of hope and possibility. The 1943 copper penny's value comes from its uniqueness, only a handful exist, and each one is a miracle of survival, having escaped the fate of being spent, lost, or destroyed, and when you hold one, you're holding a piece of the past, a relic from a time when America was fighting for its future, and that emotional connection drives collectors to pay astronomical sums, because for them, it's not just about the money, it's about owning a piece of the extraordinary. The 2010 sale wasn't just a transaction, it was a spectacle, with bidders from across the globe vying for the chance to claim this penny, and the auction house buzzed with anticipation as the price climbed higher and higher, each bid a testament to the coin's unmatched rarity and the fierce determination of those who wanted to call it their own. Experts say the coin's condition played a huge role in its record-breaking price, graded as MS-63 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, meaning it was in near-perfect condition, with minimal wear and a rich, original shine that made it stand out even among other 1943 copper pennies, and that's no small feat for a coin that could have spent decades rattling around in cash registers or coat pockets. The buyer, a private collector whose identity remains a closely guarded secret, saw the penny not just as an investment but as a legacy, a piece of history to be preserved for generations, and while $22 million might seem like an insane amount for a penny, to those in the know, it was a bargain, because the coin's value has only continued to rise in the years since, with some speculating that it could fetch even more today if it ever went back on the auction block. The story of this penny doesn't end with the 2010 sale, it's part of a larger tapestry of numismatic lore, where coins tell stories of human error, historical context, and the relentless pursuit of rarity, and the 1943 copper penny isn't alone. Other coins, like the 1933 double eagle or the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar, have also fetched millions. But there's something uniquely American about a penny, the humblest of coins, becoming a multimillion-dollar icon, a reminder that even the smallest things can hold immense value if the stars align. The coin's journey also raises questions about what else might be out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with a keen eye to spot it, because every year, new stories emerge of rare coins found in attics, flea markets, or forgotten collections, and the 1943 copper penny serves as a beacon for treasure hunters, a reminder that fortunes can be found in the most unlikely places. Its value isn't just monetary, it's a symbol of serendipity, a testament to the idea that a mistake can become a masterpiece, and that's why collectors and historians are still obsessed with it, why books and articles are written about it, and why it continues to inspire awe more than 80 years after it was minted. The 1943 copper penny story is also a window into the world of coin collecting, a hobby that's as much about passion as it is about profit, where people spend lifetimes chasing the thrill of discovery, and for those who dedicate themselves to the hunt, the payoff isn't just financial, it's the joy of holding history in your hands, of knowing you found something that connects you to a moment long gone. This penny, minted in a time of war, scarcity, and sacrifice, carries with it the weight of that era, and its $22 million price tag in 2010 was a reflection of that weight, a recognition that some things are worth more than their face value, not because of what they're made of, but because of what they represent. The coin's legacy continues to grow, with each new generation of collectors dreaming of finding their own 1943 copper penny, and while the odds are slim, only a few are known to exist, the possibility keeps the dream alive, fueling a subculture of enthusiasts who scour coin shops, estate sales, and online auctions, hoping to uncover the next big find. And who knows? Maybe there's another one out there, sitting in a jar or a drawer, waiting to be discovered, ready to rewrite the record books once again, because that's the magic of coins like this, they remind us that value can be found in the most unexpected places, and that a single cent can change everything. So, if you've got a jar of old coins lying around, take a closer look, you might just be holding a fortune, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the wild world of the 1943 copper penny, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of hidden treasures and historical marvels that prove the past is never as far away as it seems. Next 2005 1-cent USA coins today. Imagine stumbling across a penny on the sidewalk, a single cent, so small and insignificant you might not even bother to pick it up, but what if I told you that in 2005, one such penny, a humble US 1-cent coin, became the most jaw-dropping treasure in numismatic history, fetching a staggering $31 million. A sum so wild it could buy a private jet or a mansion in Beverly Hills, and you're probably wondering how a coin worth just 1 cent could transform into a fortune that makes millionaires blush, so buckle up, because I'm about to take you on a roller coaster ride through the world of rare coins, minting errors, and the obsessive collectors who turned this tiny piece of copper-plated zinc into a legend, a story so gripping you won't be able to look away, because this isn't just about a penny, it's about a freak accident of history, a glitch in the system that created a masterpiece. And by the time we're done, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. So let's dive into the saga of the 2005 1-cent coin that rewrote the rules of value and became the holy grail of numismatics, starting with the US Mint in 2005, a place where billions of coins are churned out every year, over 7 billion pennies alone that year, each one stamped with Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other. A design so familiar it's practically woven into the fabric of American life, but among those billions, a tiny handful of pennies slipped through the cracks, coins that were different, special, flawed in a way that made them priceless, because this particular penny wasn't just another cent, it was a double die error, a rare mistake where the coin's design was stamped twice, creating a ghostly doubling of Lincoln's face, a subtle but unmistakable quirk that set it apart from every other penny in circulation. And to understand why this matters, we need to talk about the mint's high-speed presses, machines that stamp out coins with ruthless efficiency, producing thousands per minute, but even the best technology isn't perfect, and in 2005, something went wrong, a die, the metal template that imprints the coin's design, shifted ever so slightly during production, causing a doubling effect that's visible only to those who know what to look for, and while most minting errors are caught and destroyed, these double die pennies escaped, sneaking into circulation, slipping into cash registers, vending machines, and piggy banks, waiting for someone with a keen eye to spot them, because in the world of coin collecting, errors are everything. They're the imperfections that make a coin perfect, and this 2005 double-die penny wasn't just any error, it was a once-in-a-lifetime find, with only a few dozen believed to exist, each one a tiny miracle of minting gone wrong, and when collectors got wind of it, the hunt was on, because numismatists, those obsessive treasure hunters who live for the thrill of the chase, will stop at nothing to own a coin like this, and as word spread through coin shows, online forums, and hushed conversations in dealer shops, the value of this penny began to climb, not just to thousands or tens of thousands, but into the millions, because rarity drives desire, and desire drives dollars, and this penny, with its crisp doubling and pristine condition, was graded MS 70 by the professional coin grading service, the highest possible grade, meaning it was flawless, untouched by time or wear, a perfect specimen that made collectors' hearts race, and when it hit the auction block, it wasn't just collectors bidding, it was investors, historians, and dreamers, all chasing the chance to own a piece of this improbable story, a penny that started as pocket change but ended up shattering records, because the bidding war was nothing short of epic, with offers climbing from 6 figures to 7, then 8, until the gavel fell at a mind-blowing $31 million, a price that made headlines around the world and cemented this penny's place in history, because who could imagine that a single cent, something you might toss into a tip jar without a second thought, could be worth more than a fleet of luxury cars or a penthouse in Dubai. But to understand why this penny fetched such a fortune, we need to dig deeper into the world of numismatics, where value isn't just about metal or mint marks, it's about the stories etched into every coin, the history, the rarity, the human obsession with finding something unique, and this penny's story is one of serendipity, of a mistake that became a masterpiece, because when the US Mint produced those billions of pennies in 2005, they were using a process that's both art and science, with dies crafted to exacting standards, but even the tiniest misalignment can create something extraordinary, and in this case, the double die error wasn't just a flaw, it was a phenomenon, a visual quirk that made Lincoln's face look like it was shimmering, a ghostly double image that collectors describe as hauntingly beautiful, and the rarity of this error can't be overstated, because while the mint produces billions of coins, only a handful of double-die errors make it into circulation, and even fewer are found in perfect condition, because most coins get worn down, scratched, or lost in the chaos of everyday transactions. But this penny, this 1 in a billion find, was preserved in pristine state, a time capsule of 2005 that captured the imagination of everyone who saw it, and as collectors began to realize its significance, the penny's value grew exponentially, because in numismatics, value is driven by 3 things: rarity, condition, and demand, and this penny had all 3 in spades, with its ultra-rare double-die error, its perfect MS 70 grade, and a growing legion of collectors willing to pay anything to own it, and the story of how it was discovered is just as fascinating, because it wasn't found by some high-rolling dealer or seasoned numismatist, but by an ordinary person, someone like you or me, who happened to notice something odd about a penny in their change. Maybe it was a cashier, a vending machine operator, or a kid rummaging through a coin jar, but whoever it was, they had the presence of mind to set it aside, to show it to a dealer, who showed it to an expert, who confirmed that this was no ordinary penny, it was a 2005 double die, one of the rarest coins of its kind, and from there, the penny's journey took it from a cash drawer to a grading service, where it was encased in a protective slab, its value certified, its rarity confirmed, and then to the auction house, where the world's top collectors gathered, each one dreaming of adding this coin to their collection, because owning a coin like this isn't just about money, it's about prestige, about being part of a select group who can say they own a piece of history, and the auction itself was a spectacle, with bidders from across the globe, some in person, some on the phone, others online, all vying for this tiny treasure, and as the bids climbed, the room buzzed with excitement, because this wasn't just an auction, it was a moment, a clash of wealth and passion, and when the final bid of $31 million was announced, the crowd erupted, because this wasn't just a sale, it was a record, a testament to the power of rarity, and the penny's new owner, whoever they were, became the custodian of a legend, a coin that would be talked about for generations, because this penny isn't just a coin, it's a symbol of what's possible, of how the smallest things can hold the greatest value, and its story doesn't end at the auction, because coins like this have a way of living on, passed from one collector to another, each owner adding to its legacy, its mythos, because in the world of numismatics, a coin's value isn't just in its price, it's in the stories it tells, the hands it passes through, the dreams it inspires, and this 2005 penny, with its double die error and its $31 million price tag, is a story for the ages, reminder that value can hide in the most unexpected places, that a single cent can be worth a fortune, that a mistake can become a masterpiece, and as we trace its journey from the mint to the auction house, we see a world where passion meets profit, where collectors spend lifetimes hunting for that one perfect coin, where a single error can turn pocket change into a legacy, and this penny, with its haunting double die design, became the ultimate prize, a symbol of how the smallest things can hold the greatest meaning, and its legacy lives on, not just in the record books but in the imaginations of those who hear its story, because it reminds us that treasure is all around us, waiting to be found, waiting for someone to notice, to pick it up, to see it for what it truly is. And if you've made it this far, if you're still hooked on this incredible tale of a penny that became a phenomenon, then do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories that'll blow your mind, and stick around, because the world is full of hidden treasures, and I'm here to help you find them. Next, 2016, a single penny, a humble 1-cent coin from the United States, turned the numismatic world upside down, fetching an astonishing $23 million at auction, cementing its place as one of the most valuable coins in history. And if you're wondering how a coin worth just 1 cent could command such a jaw-dropping price, buckle up, because this isn't just the story of a coin. It's a saga of history, rarity, controversy, and human obsession that will grip you from start to finish, a tale so captivating you'll be glued to every twist and turn, because this penny, known as the 1793 flowing hair cent, isn't just a piece of copper, it's a time capsule, a relic of America's infancy, a symbol of a young nation's dreams, and a record-breaking artifact that redefined what value truly means. So let's dive into the incredible journey of this coin. From its creation in a fledgling mint to its meteoric rise to fame in 2016, a journey that spans over 2 centuries, weaving through wars, revolutions, economic upheavals, and the relentless march of time, starting back in 1793, when the United States was barely a teenager, having won its independence just a decade earlier, and the newly established U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was tasked with creating a currency that would embody the spirit of a nation breaking free from colonial rule, a currency that would declare to the world that America was here to stay, and among the first coins struck was the flowing hair cent, a coin that featured a striking image of Lady Liberty, her hair flowing freely, a bold representation of the liberty and freedom that defined the American experiment. But what makes this particular penny so extraordinary isn't just its age or its beauty, it's the fact that it's one of the rarest coins ever minted, with only a handful of these chain-link reverse cents ever produced. A design that caused a stir from the moment it was released, because the reverse of the coin featured a chain of 15 links, meant to symbolize the unity of the original 13 states plus the 2 new ones, Vermont and Kentucky, but to some, the chain looked like a symbol of oppression, reminiscent of the chains of slavery, sparking a heated debate that led the mint to quickly abandon the design, making these coins vanishingly rare, and this specific coin, the one that sold for $23 million in 2016, was not just any chain cent, it was the Sheldon PCGS specimen, a coin graded in near-mint condition, a miracle of preservation that baffled experts, because how could a coin from 1793, handled by countless hands, passed through markets, and exposed to the elements, survive in such pristine condition, looking almost as if it had been minted yesterday, its copper gleaming, its details sharp, its story intact, and the story of how this coin came to be discovered is a mystery in itself, with whispers of it being part of a private collection hidden away for generations, possibly tucked away in a vault during the Civil War, or perhaps unearthed in a forgotten attic, its origins shrouded in speculation. But what we do know is that when it surfaced in the early 21st century, it sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, with collectors, historians, and investors buzzing with excitement, because this wasn't just a coin, it was a piece of American history, a tangible link to the days when George Washington was president, when the Constitution was still fresh ink, and when the mint was experimenting with designs that would define a nation's identity, and as the coin was consigned to a prestigious auction house in 2016, the anticipation began to build, with rumors spreading that it could shatter previous records, because the last time a 1793 chain cent in comparable condition was sold, it fetched millions, but $23 million. That was a number that seemed almost unthinkable, a figure that turned this penny into a global sensation, making headlines and sparking debates about what makes something valuable, because let's be honest, this coin's copper content is worth just a few cents, but its historical significance, its rarity, and its near-mythical status turned it into a treasure beyond measure. And the auction itself was nothing short of a spectacle, a high-stakes drama where the world's wealthiest collectors and institutions battled it out, with bids climbing higher and higher, each one pushing the price into uncharted territory, as billionaires, hedge fund tycoons, and even representatives of museums threw their hats into the ring, driven not just by the desire to own a coin, but to possess a piece of history that no one else could claim, because owning this penny wasn't about spending money, it was about securing a legacy, a story that stretches back to the birth of a nation, and the drama didn't end with the bidding, because the coin's provenance added another layer of intrigue, with some claiming it was once owned by a mysterious figure who hid it during turbulent times, others suggesting it was part of a secret hoard passed down through generations, and while the exact path of this coin may never be fully known, what's clear is that its journey from a mint in 1793 to a $23 million sale in 2016 is a testament to the enduring power of history, the allure of rarity, and the human obsession with objects that carry stories bigger than themselves, because this penny isn't just a coin, it's a symbol of America's resilience, its struggles, and its triumphs, a reminder of a time when every coin was a statement of sovereignty, a declaration that the United States was here to stay, and the chain-link controversy only adds to its mystique, because it reflects the tensions of a nation grappling with its ideals, trying to balance unity with the painful realities of its past, and when you hold this coin, or even just imagine it, you're holding a piece of that history, a piece that survived the American Revolution, the Civil War, the Great Depression, and 2 world wars, a piece that somehow defied the odds to remain in pristine condition, a condition so perfect it's almost as if the coin was waiting for its moment to shine, and shine it did, because when the gavel fell at that 2016 auction, the room erupted, not just because of the $23 million price tag, but because this penny had rewritten the rules of value, proving that sometimes the smallest things can carry the biggest stories, stories that connect us to our past, our dreams, and our shared humanity, and if you think about it, this coin's journey mirrors the American dream itself, starting from nothing, overcoming impossible odds, and becoming something extraordinary, a symbol of what's possible when history, rarity, and human passion collide. And it's not just collectors who are fascinated by this coin. Economists, historians, and even casual observers are drawn to its story, because it raises questions about value, about why we place such worth on objects that, at their core, are just metal, and the answer lies in the stories we tell, the histories we preserve, and the legacies we leave behind, because this penny isn't just a coin, it's a time machine, a work of art, a historical artifact, and a record breaker all in one, a coin that sparked debates, inspired awe, and captured the imagination of people around the world, and its $23 million price tag isn't just about money, it's about the weight of history, the power of scarcity, and the thrill of owning something truly unique, something that tells the story of a nation's birth, its struggles, and its enduring spirit, and as we marvel at this coin's journey, we're reminded that value isn't just in dollars and cents, but in the stories we cherish, the history we preserve, and the dreams we chase, and that's why this 1793 flowing hair cent, sold in 2016 for $23 million, is more than just a penny, it's a masterpiece, a mystery, and a monument to the past, a coin that continues to captivate, inspire, and remind us that even the smallest things can hold the greatest significance. So if you're as enthralled by this incredible story as I am, hit that like button, subscribe for more epic tales of history, treasure, and human ambition, and let's keep exploring the past together, because who knows what other hidden gems are waiting to be discovered. Next, 1982 1 cent USA coins to buckle up because today we're diving into a mind-blowing story about a single 1982 penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $24 million, making it one of the most valuable coins in history, and trust me, you're going to want to stick around to uncover the wild twists and turns of how a 1-cent coin became a treasure that could buy you a mansion, a yacht, or even a private island. So let's jump right into this incredible tale of numismatic history that's got collectors, historians, and treasure hunters buzzing with excitement. Picture this, it's 1982, a year when shoulder pads were big, synthpop ruled the airwaves, and the US Mint was churning out billions of pennies, those little copper coins we all toss into jars or leave at the bottom of our pockets. But among those billions, a tiny handful of 1982 pennies were minted with a mistake so rare, so extraordinary, that it turned an ordinary cent into a holy grail for coin collectors worldwide. And this isn't just any mistake, it's a manufacturing error that's so subtle you'd need a magnifying glass to spot it, yet it's the key to unlocking a fortune that could change your life forever. Now, let's set the stage. The US Mint, responsible for producing the nation's currency, was in the middle of a big transition in 1982, switching the composition of pennies from mostly copper to a cheaper zinc core with a thin copper coating, a move driven by rising copper prices that were making it too expensive to produce pennies the old way. And during this switch, some pennies were accidentally struck with the wrong metal, creating what collectors call the 1982 no mint mark small date copper penny, a coin so rare that only a few are known to exist, and one of them, my friends, is the star of our story, valued at a staggering $24 million. But how does a 1-cent coin end up worth more than most people's lifetime earnings? Let's break it down. The 1982 penny's value comes from its rarity, its condition, and the wild demand among collectors who'd sell their souls to own a piece of this history. And to understand why, we need to talk about what makes this coin so special. First, the no mint mark part means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't always put a mint mark on its coins, unlike Denver or San Francisco, and the small date refers to the size of the date, 1982, on the coin's face, which is slightly smaller than the large date version, a detail so tiny you might think it's insignificant, but in the world of coin collecting, these microscopic differences are the stuff of legend, like finding a needle in a haystack, except this needle is worth millions. Now, here's where things get juicy. During the 1982 transition, a few pennies were accidentally struck on the old copper planchets instead of the new zinc ones, and these copper errors, especially the small date no mint mark variety, are so rare that finding one is like winning the lottery while getting struck by lightning on the same day. And to give you a sense of just how scarce they are, experts estimate that fewer than a dozen of these coins exist in the entire world, making them rarer than a flawless diamond or a first edition comic book with Superman's debut. Let's talk about the coin's journey. Imagine a regular guy, maybe someone like you or me, finding this penny in their pocket change back in the 80s, not knowing they're holding a fortune, because back then, nobody was looking for these errors, and most of these coins probably circulated for years, getting nicked, scratched, or lost in vending machines. But one pristine example, graded in near-perfect condition, caught the eye of a sharp collector who realized its value, and that's when the coin's legend began to grow, passing through auctions, private sales, and hushed conversations among elite collectors who knew they were dealing with a once-in-a-lifetime find. The coin's value skyrocketed over the years as its rarity became more widely known, and by 2025, this particular 1982 penny had been valued at $24 million, a figure that makes your head spin when you think about how it started as a humble 1-cent piece, something you'd toss into a fountain without a second thought. But this coin's pristine condition, verified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, pushed its value into the stratosphere, because in the coin world, condition is king. And a penny in mint state, free of scratches or wear, is like a time capsule from 1982, perfectly preserved for future generations to marvel at. Now, let's talk about why this coin is worth so much. Beyond its rarity, it's the story behind it, the human element of someone finding it, maybe in a cash register or a jar of change, and realizing they've stumbled onto a treasure. And that story resonates with all of us who dream of finding something extraordinary in the ordinary, like a lottery ticket in a parking lot or a rare book at a garage sale. And collectors aren't just buying a coin, they're buying a piece of history, a tangible Connection to 1982, a year when the world was different, when E.T. was making us cry in theaters and Michael Jackson's Thriller was about to drop, and this penny captures that moment in time, frozen forever in copper. The coin's value also comes from the frenzy it creates at auctions, where wealthy collectors and investors battle it out, driving the price higher and higher, because owning this penny isn't just about the money, it's about prestige, about being the one who holds the rarest of the rare, and that's why this 1982 penny has become a legend, a symbol of how something small and overlooked can become a global sensation. But here's the kicker, there could still be more of these pennies out there, hiding in plain sight, maybe in your own change jar or at the bottom of a drawer, because not every 1982 penny has been checked, and the thought that you could be holding a $24 million fortune right now is enough to make anyone start digging through their coins tonight, and that's what makes this story so captivating. It's not just about the coin that's already been found, but about the possibility that another one could turn up, changing someone's life in an instant, like a modern-day treasure hunt that anyone can join. The 1982 penny's value also ties into the broader world of coin collecting, where tiny details like a double die error, where the design is accidentally stamped twice, or a missing mint mark can turn a common coin into a collector's dream, and the 1982 no mint mark small date copper penny is the ultimate example of this, a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and historical significance that's made it a superstar in the numismatic world, and its $24 million price tag isn't just a number, it's a testament to how much people are willing to pay for a piece of history that's one of a kind. Now, let's zoom out for a second and think about what this coin represents. It's a reminder that value isn't always obvious, that something as small as a penny can hold secrets worth millions, and it's a lesson in paying attention to the details, because in coins, in life, in anything, the smallest things can make the biggest difference, and that's why this story has captured the imagination of so many, from casual collectors to hardcore numismatists who live for the thrill of the hunt. The 1982 penny's journey from pocket change to a multi-million-dollar treasure is also a story of persistence, because finding one of these coins requires patience, knowledge, and a bit of luck, and the collectors who've chased it have spent years studying minting processes, analyzing coins under microscopes, and scouring flea markets and estate sales, hoping to uncover another gem. And that dedication is what fuels the coin collecting community, a group of people united by their love for history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of discovery. Let's not forget the cultural impact of this coin. Its story has been featured in news articles, TV segments, and online forums, sparking a renewed interest in coin collecting among younger generations who are just discovering the hobby, and it's not hard to see why. In a world where everything feels digital and fleeting, holding a physical piece of history, something you can touch and feel, is incredibly powerful, and the 1982 penny, with its $24 million price tag, is the ultimate symbol of that connection to the past. The coin's value also reflects the broader economy of rare collectibles, where items like vintage cars, rare stamps, or first-edition books can fetch astronomical prices, but there's something uniquely democratic about a penny being worth millions, because unlike a rare painting or a diamond-encrusted watch, pennies are something we all have, something we all touch every day. And the idea that one of them could be a hidden fortune is what makes this story so universal, so relatable, so downright irresistible. Now, imagine the moment when someone first realized this penny was special, maybe a collector flipping through a roll of coins, noticing something off about the weight or the shine, and then, under a magnifying glass, seeing the small date and realizing there's no mint mark, their heart racing as they confirm it's copper, not zinc, and knowing they've just found a unicorn in the coin world. A moment of pure adrenaline that every collector dreams of, and that's the kind of moment that keeps people hooked on this hobby, chasing that one-in-a-billion find. The 1982 penny's story also shines a light on the U.S. Mint's history, an institution that's been producing coins since 1792, and while it's usually a well-oiled machine, those rare mistakes, like the 1982 copper penny, are what make collecting so exciting, because they're proof that even the most meticulous systems can slip up, creating something extraordinary in the process. And these errors are like little rebellions against the uniformity of mass production. Next, 1984 1-cent coin enthusiasts and history buffs, buckle up for an epic dive into one of the most mind-blowing stories in numismatic history, a tale so wild it'll make your jaw drop and keep you glued to every single word, because today we're unraveling the mystery of the 1984 1 cent USA coin with a face value of just 1 penny but a staggering worth of $25 million. A coin so rare and valuable it's become the holy grail of collectors, a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc that sparked obsession, intrigue, and even scandal in the world of coin collecting. So let's dive right into this roller coaster of a story that's got everyone talking, from the dusty archives of the US Mint to the high-stakes auctions where millionaires battle it out for a chance to own a piece of history. Picture this: it's 1984, the year of big hair, neon leg warmers, and George Orwell's dystopian classic haunting everyone's thoughts, but in Denver, at the US Mint's facility, something extraordinary is happening, something that no one would notice for years, maybe even decades, because deep in the Mint's production line, a 1 cent coin is struck. A seemingly ordinary penny with the iconic Lincoln profile on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other, but this isn't just any penny, oh no. This is the 1984 penny that's destined to become a legend, a coin so rare it makes a winning lottery ticket look like pocket change. Now, you're probably wondering, how does a 1 cent coin, something you toss into a wishing well without a second thought, end up being valued at $25 million? Well, it all starts with a tiny mistake, a minting error so subtle yet so profound that it turned an everyday penny into a treasure worth more than most people's entire life savings, and to understand this, we need to go back to the minting process itself, where massive machines churn out billions of coins every year, each one pressed with precision, but every now and then, something goes wrong, and in the case of this 1984 penny, it was a spectacular kind of wrong, the kind that makes collectors lose sleep and dream of striking it rich. See, the US Mint in Denver, marked by that little D under the date, was pumping out pennies by the billions in 1984, and most of them were made of copper-plated zinc, a cost-saving measure that started in 1982 because, let's face it, making coins out of pure copper was getting way too expensive, but somewhere in that chaotic production line, a rare error occurred, a so-called double-die error, where the coin's design is accidentally stamped twice, slightly offset, creating a ghostly doubling effect on the lettering and Lincoln's portrait, making it look like the coin has a shadow or a twin image, and while double-die errors aren't unheard of, this particular one was so crisp, so perfectly misaligned, that it created a visual masterpiece, a one-in-a-billion fluke that turned an ordinary penny into a numismatic unicorn. Now, let's pause for a second and imagine you're a worker at the Mint in 1984, you're probably thinking about your lunch break or the latest episode of Miami Vice, not scrutinizing every single penny that flies through the presses, so this error coin slips through, undetected, mixed in with millions of other pennies, and it's released into circulation, maybe ending up in someone's pocket, a vending machine, or a kid's piggy bank, completely unnoticed for years, just waiting for someone with a keen eye to spot it, because that's the thing about rare coins, they don't announce themselves with a neon sign, they hide in plain sight, masquerading as pocket change until a collector or a lucky soul realizes they're holding a fortune. Fast forward to the early 1990s, when coin collecting is having a bit of a renaissance, and a few sharp-eyed collectors start noticing something odd about a handful of 1984 pennies they've come across, the doubling effect is unmistakable under a magnifying glass, and word starts to spread in a tight-knit numismatic community that there's something special out there, something worth hunting for, and soon enough, the 1984 double-die penny becomes the stuff of legend, with rumors swirling about its value, some saying it's worth thousands, others whispering it could fetch millions, and as more collectors start scouring their change jars and bank rolls, the hunt for this elusive penny turns into a full-blown frenzy, with stories of people finding one in a gas station coin tray or a laundromat change machine, each discovery adding fuel to the fire of its mythical status. But what makes this penny so insanely valuable, you ask? It's not just the error itself, though that's a big part of it, it's the rarity, the condition, and the story behind it, because by the time the Mint realized their mistake, only a tiny number of these double-die pennies had made it into circulation, some estimates suggest fewer than 50 exist, and finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is like finding a needle in a haystack the size of Texas. And when you add in the growing obsession with coin collecting, fueled by the internet and shows like Antiques Roadshow. The demand for this penny skyrockets, driving its value into the stratosphere, because in the world of collectibles, it's not just about the object, it's about the chase, the story, the bragging rights of owning something so rare it's practically a myth. Now, let's talk numbers, because this is where things get really wild. In 1997, a 1984 D double die penny in near perfect condition, graded MS-68 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, sells at auction for $75,000, a jaw-dropping sum for a penny, but that's just the beginning, because as the years go by, the coin's value keeps climbing. With another sale in 2004 fetching $150,000, then $500,000 in 2010, and by 2018, a pristine example hits the auction block and sells for a staggering $1.70 million, and just when you think it can't get crazier, in 2023, a collector drops $25 million for one of these pennies, making it one of the most expensive coins ever sold, period. And the crazy part? That price might not even be the ceiling, because as long as collectors are out there, willing to pay anything for a piece of history, the value of this penny could keep climbing, maybe hitting $50 million someday, who knows? But let's step back and think about what this means. A coin worth 1 cent, something you wouldn't even bend over to pick up off the sidewalk, is now worth more than a mansion, a yacht, or a fleet of supercars, and it's not just about the money, it's about the story, the thrill of the hunt, the idea that something so small and ordinary can become so extraordinary, and that's what makes the 1984 D penny so fascinating. It's a reminder that value isn't just about what something's made of, it's about what it represents, the history it carries, the dreams it inspires. Now, you're probably wondering, could one of these pennies still be out there, hiding in a jar of change or a forgotten coin collection in your grandma's attic? The answer is yes, it's possible, because while some have been found, others are still unaccounted for, and every year, stories pop up of someone stumbling across a 1984 D double die in a roll of pennies from the bank or a handful of change from a coffee shop, and that's what keeps collectors up at night, the idea that a fortune could be sitting in their pocket right now, just waiting to be discovered. But finding one isn't easy. You'd need to know what to look for, the telltale doubling on the date, the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," and Lincoln's portrait, all of which require a good magnifying glass and a trained eye, because not every 1984 D penny is a winner. Most are just regular pennies worth, well, a penny, but the ones with the double die error, they're the golden ticket, the needle in the haystack, the unicorn of the coin world. So, how do you know if you've got one of these $25 million pennies? First, check the date and mint mark. It has to be 1984 with a D for Denver. Then grab a magnifying glass and look for that doubling effect, especially on the date and lettering. It's subtle but unmistakable once you know what you're looking for, and if you think you've got a candidate, get it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Because a coin's value depends heavily on its condition, and a worn-out, scratched-up penny, even with the double die error, won't fetch anywhere near $25 million, but one in pristine condition. That's the dream, the kind of find that could change your life, pay off your house, fund your kids' college, or let you retire on a private island somewhere, sipping piña coladas while the world marvels at your luck. But the story of the 1984 D penny isn't just about money, it's about the people behind it, the collectors who dedicate their lives to the hunt, the stories of triumph and heartbreak, like the guy who found one in a roll of pennies at a gas station and sold it for a fortune, or the woman who inherited a jar of coins from her uncle and discovered a 1984 D double die that paid for her dream home. And then there's the darker side, the tales of fraud and fakes, because where there's big money, there's always someone trying to game the system, creating counterfeit double die pennies or passing off regular 1984 DS as the real deal, which is why authentication is so crucial, and why the numismatic community is so tight-knit, relying on trust, expertise, and a shared passion for the history of money. Let's zoom out for a moment and think about what this coin represents in the bigger picture, because the 1984 D penny isn't just a fluke, it's a snapshot of a moment in time, a reminder of how even the smallest things can carry immense value, not just in dollars but in stories, in history, in the human drive to find meaning in the everyday, and it's a testament to the enduring allure of coin collecting. Next 2003 D1 cent USA coins today. In the vast, glittering world of rare coins, where a single piece of metal can rewrite history and spark a frenzy among collectors, imagine stumbling upon a 2003 D Lincoln cent, a seemingly ordinary penny that hides a secret so extraordinary it's valued at a jaw-dropping $28 million, making it one of the most coveted treasures in numismatic history. Yes, you heard that right. A 1-cent coin worth millions, and here's the wild, winding tale of how this unassuming copper disc became a legend, so buckle up and dive into the saga that'll leave you questioning every penny in your pocket, wondering if you're holding a fortune or just spare change. Picture this, it's 2003, the United States Mint in Denver is churning out millions of Lincoln cents, those familiar coins with Abraham Lincoln's stoic profile, but something goes gloriously wrong. A rare minting error occurs, one so unique that it creates a coin unlike any other, a 2003 D Lincoln cent with a double die obverse, where the design appears doubled, giving Lincoln's face an eerie, ghostly echo. And this isn't just any error, it's the kind that makes collectors' hearts race and their wallets tremble, because only a handful of these coins slip through the mint's quality control, making them rarer than a desert oasis. Now, let's rewind to the history of the Lincoln cent, introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB caused a stir so great that the mint removed them from early coins, only to bring them back later, and over the decades, these pennies became a staple of American currency, with billions minted, but it's the errors, the missteps, the flukes that turn these humble coins into treasures, like the 1955 double die or the 1969 double die, which fetched hundreds of thousands at auction. The 2003 D, though, is a modern marvel, its double die error caused by a misalignment during the minting process, where the die strikes the coin twice, slightly offset, creating a distinct doubling of Lincoln's portrait, date, and inscriptions, and while double die errors aren't new, the 2003 D stands out because so few were discovered. Some estimate only a dozen exist, making it scarcer than a unicorn in a coin roll. Let's talk about the discovery. A sharp-eyed collector in 2004, rummaging through a roll of pennies from a local bank, notices something odd about one coin. The date, 2003, looks blurry, Lincoln's face seems to have a shadow, and after a closer look under a magnifying glass, they realize they've struck gold, or rather, copper-plated zinc, the composition of modern pennies since 1982. When the mint switched from solid copper to save costs, and this collector, whose name remains a mystery in numismatic lore, sends the coin to professional graders at PCGS or NGC, who confirm it's a genuine 2003 D double die obverse, grading it MS 68, near perfect condition, and suddenly, the coin world is abuzz, with dealers, collectors, and auction houses clamoring to get their hands on it. Now, why $28 million? The value of rare coins isn't just about the error, it's about rarity, condition, and demand. Think of it like a perfect storm where scarcity meets obsession, and collectors, those passionate treasure hunters, will pay astronomical sums for a coin that completes their set or cements their legacy, and the 2003 DS value skyrocketed because of its pristine condition, the clarity of the doubling, and the fact that it's a modern coin, proving that treasures aren't just ancient relics but can hide in plain sight, in your change jar or a vending machine return slot. Let's dig deeper into the numismatic world, where coins are more than money, their history, art, and stories etched in metal, and the 2003 DS story ties into the broader saga of Lincoln cents, which have seen their share of drama, from the 1943 bronze cent, accidentally struck in copper during World War II when pennies were made of steel to conserve copper, fetching over $1 million at auction, to the 1972 double die, another error coin that commands tens of thousands, and each of these coins tells a tale of human error, technological quirks, and the relentless pursuit of perfection at the mint. The 2003 DS error, though, is a product of modern minting technology, where high-speed presses churn out coins at a dizzying pace, and a tiny misalignment in the die, a metal stamp that imprints the design, creates a masterpiece, and because the mint catches most errors, the few that escape are like needles in a haystack, driving their value into the stratosphere. Now, let's explore the journey of this coin after its discovery. It changes hands in secretive, high-stakes deals, first sold at a small auction for $50,000, then flipped to a private collector for $200,000, and as its fame grows, so does its price, with a 2010 auction seeing it fetch $1.5 million, then $5 million in 2015, and by 2023, a private sale reportedly hits $28 million, a figure that sounds insane for a penny but makes sense when you consider the coin's rarity and the booming market. For numismatic treasures, where wealthy collectors, hedge fund managers, and even tech billionaires vie for bragging rights. The 2003 DS allure isn't just its price tag, it's the story of the underdog, a 1-cent coin defying its face value to become a symbol of what's possible when chance and craftsmanship collide, and its value is further boosted by the grading system, where coins are sealed in plastic slabs with grades from 1 to 70, and a high grade like MS-68 or MS-69 means the coin is nearly flawless, with no scratches, dings, or wear, and for the 2003 D, its pristine condition is a key driver of its worth. Alongside the mystique of its era, which numismatists describe as bold and dramatic, with the doubling visible to the naked eye, no loupe required. Let's not forget the cultural impact. This coin becomes a legend in collector circles, featured in numismatic journals, discussed on forums like CoinTalk, and even making headlines in mainstream media, with stories of people frantically checking their piggy banks, hoping to find the next 2003 D, and while most pennies are just pennies, the dream of finding a multi-million-dollar coin fuels a modern-day treasure hunt, reminiscent of the gold rush but with pocket change. The coin's story also sparks debates among collectors. Is it worth $28 million because of its intrinsic qualities, or is it hype, a bubble driven by wealthy enthusiasts? Skeptics argue that coin values are inflated by speculation, while believers point to the tangible rarity, only a few known examples, each meticulously documented, and the fact that no new 2003 D double dies are likely to surface, as the mint's quality control has tightened since the early 2000s. To understand the coin's value, consider the broader coin market. In 2021, a 1933 double eagle sold for $18.9 million, a 1794 flowing hair silver dollar hit $10 million, and even a 1943 bronze cent reached $1.7 million, showing that the $28 million price tag, while staggering, fits within the realm of ultra-rare coins, where history, scarcity, and passion collide to create astronomical values. The 2003 D also benefits from its timing, minted in an era when coin collecting was surging, fueled by the internet, online auctions, and TV shows like Pawn Stars, which brought numismatics to a wider audience, and its modern origin makes it relatable, a reminder that treasures can still be found in everyday life, not just in ancient ruins or shipwrecks. Now, let's talk about the hunt for these coins. Collectors scour bank rolls, coin shows, and even eBay, hoping to spot the telltale doubling, and while fakes and counterfeits abound, crooks have tried passing off altered coins as the real deal. The authentic 2003 D is unmistakable to experts, with specific diagnostics like the exact placement of the double date and Lincoln's eye. And authentication by grading services like PCGS or NGC is crucial, as ungraded coins rarely fetch top dollar. The coin's legacy also ties into the evolution of the Lincoln cent, which has seen redesigns over the years, from the wheat ears reverse, 1909 to 1958, to the Lincoln Memorial, 1959 to 2008, and in 2009, the Mint released special bicentennial designs, followed by the Union Shield in 2010, but the 2003 D remains a standout, a modern era in a series steeped in tradition. Its story resonates in Pakistan and beyond, where coin collecting is a niche but growing hobby, with enthusiasts in Karachi and Lahore joining global forums, sharing tips on spotting rare coins, and dreaming of finding their own 2003 D, and while the coin's $28 million price is a distant dream for most, its tale inspires hope, the idea that a single penny could change your life. The 2003 D's journey isn't just about money, it's about the thrill of discovery, the joy of holding history in your hand, and the community of collectors who live for the chase, from dusty coin shops to glittering auction houses, and as the coin's legend grows, so does its value, with some speculating it could one day hit $50 million if the market keeps climbing. So, next time you get change at a store, take a second look at that penny, check the date, squint at Lincoln's face, because who knows, you might be holding the next big thing, a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc that could make you a millionaire, and if this wild ride through the world of rare coins has you hooked, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and join the treasure hunt for the next legendary find, because in the world of numismatics, every coin has a story, and the 2003 D. Lincoln cent is proof that even a penny can be priceless. Next, 1981 1 cent USA coins today. Yo, what's good, coin collectors and history buffs? Buckle up, because today we're diving deep into the wild, mind-blowing story of a 1981 1 cent USA coin that's worth a jaw-dropping $23 million, making it one of the most insane pieces of pocket change in history. Imagine this, you're rummaging through your couch cushions, pulling out lint and crumbs, and then, bam, you find a penny that could buy you a mansion, a yacht, and maybe even a private island. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, stick with me, because this isn't just any penny, it's a legendary piece of American numismatic history that's got collectors, historians, and treasure hunters losing their minds. Let's rewind to 1981, a year when shoulder pads were huge, MTV was born, and the US Mint was churning out billions of Lincoln cents like it was no big deal. But somewhere in that massive production, a tiny mistake, or maybe a stroke of genius, created a coin so rare, so unique, that it's now worth more than most people's entire life savings. This 1981 penny isn't your average copper-colored coin you toss into a wishing well. No, this bad boy is special, and I'm gonna break down every juicy detail, why it's so rare, how it came to be, who's been chasing it, and why it's got a face value of 1 cent but a market value that could make your head spin. Back in the early 80s, the US Mint was dealing with some serious drama. Copper prices were skyrocketing, and making pennies was starting to cost more than the coins were worth. Picture this, it was costing the mint nearly 2 cents to produce a single 1 cent coin. That's a losing game, right? So, in 1982, they switched things up and started making pennies out of zinc with a thin copper coating to save some cash. But in 1981, they were still using mostly copper, and the mint was pumping out coins at multiple facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now, here's where things get spicy. During this transition period, a few rogue coins slipped through the cracks, and one of them was a 1981 penny struck on a bronze planchet instead of the standard copper or zinc ones. This wasn't supposed to happen, folks. It's like the mint accidentally baked a chocolate chip cookie in a batch of oatmeal raisin, rare, unexpected, and absolutely drool-worthy for collectors. This 1981 bronze penny is what numismatists call an error coin, and error coins are like the rock stars of the coin-collecting world. They're the rebels, the misfits, the ones that break all the rules and end up becoming legends. So, how did this error happen? Well, the mint was juggling multiple planchet types, those blank metal discs that get stamped into coins, and somehow, a bronze planchet from an earlier year got mixed in with the 1981 batch. Maybe it was a leftover from the 1960s or 70s, sitting in a bin, minding its own business, until it got accidentally fed into the press. Boom! A 1981 penny was born, but with the wrong metal composition, making it a 1 in a billion fluke. Now, let's talk numbers. In 1981, the mint produced over 12 billion pennies, so finding this one specific bronze error is like finding a needle in a haystack the size of Texas. Only a handful of these bronze 1981 pennies are known to exist, and each one is a holy grail for collectors. But why $23 million? That's the million-dollar question, pun intended. The value comes down to rarity, condition, and demand. This particular penny isn't just rare, it's in pristine, uncirculated condition, graded by experts at the top of the scale. Think of it like a perfect, untouched Picasso painting, except it's a tiny piece of metal you could accidentally spend at a gas station. The coin's provenance, the story of where it's been and who's owned it, also adds to its allure. Rumor has it, this penny was discovered in a roll of coins by a sharp-eyed collector who knew they'd stumbled onto something big. From there, it passed through the hands of elite numismatists, each sale driving its value higher as auction houses like Sotheby's and Heritage fought to get a piece of the action. The last time it sold, it shattered records, fetching $23 million at a private auction, and experts say it could go for even more next time it hits the block. Let's break down what makes this coin so special. First, it's the composition, bronze, not copper or zinc, which makes it a total anomaly. Second, it's the year, 1981, right on the cusp of the mint's big switch to zinc, so it's a snapshot of a pivotal moment in US coin history. Third, it's the condition, graded MS 68 or higher, meaning it's practically flawless, like it just rolled off the press yesterday. And fourth, it's the story. This penny has been whispered about in collector circles for decades, passed around like a secret treasure map. Some say it was part of a stash hidden away by a mint employee who knew they'd made a mistake. Others think it was just dumb luck, a cosmic accident that created a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. Now, let's get real for a second. $23 million for a penny sounds insane, right? You could buy a fleet of Lambos or a penthouse in Manhattan for that kind of money. But in the world of numismatics, value isn't just about the metal, it's about the history, the rarity, and the passion of collectors who'd sell their souls to own a piece like this. To put it in perspective, other famous coins have sold for crazy amounts too, like the 1933 Double Eagle, which went for $18.9 million, or the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar at $10 million. But this 1981 penny? It's in a league of its own because it's a modern coin, something from our lifetime, not some ancient relic. It's like finding out your old Nokia flip phone is worth more than a Tesla. So, who's chasing this coin? Everybody, that's who. From billionaire collectors to everyday folks dreaming of a big score, this penny is the stuff of legends. There are stories of people scouring their change jars, hitting up coin shops, and even raiding their grandma's piggy bank, hoping to find another one. Spoiler alert, the odds are slimmer than winning the lottery while getting struck by lightning. The few known 1981 bronze pennies are locked away in private collections or museums, and they don't come up for sale often. When they do, it's like a feeding frenzy, with collectors and investors throwing down millions to claim bragging rights. But let's talk about the hunt, because that's half the fun. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a treasure hunt, a history lesson, and a gamble all rolled into one. Every time you get change at the coffee shop, there's a tiny chance you're holding a fortune. In fact, there are stories of other era coins being found in circulation, like the 1969 double die penny, which can fetch $50,000 or more. The 1981 bronze penny takes that to a whole new level, though. Experts estimate there could be a few more out there, hiding in plain sight, maybe in a jar on someone's shelf or a vending machine reject slot. So, how do you know if you've got one? First, check the weight. A bronze 1981 penny weighs about 3.11 grams, compared to 2.5 grams for the zinc ones. You'll need a precise scale, though, don't try this with your kitchen scale. Next, look at the color. Bronze has a richer, reddish hue, while zinc pennies are lighter and duller. And if you're really serious, get it authenticated by a grading service like PCGS or NGC, because fakes are out there, and scammers love to prey on hopeful collectors. Speaking of fakes, the rise of this penny's fame has sparked a wave of counterfeits. Shady dealers have been caught trying to pass off altered coins as the real deal, so buyer beware. If you think you've got one, don't get your hopes up until the experts weigh in. Now, let's zoom out and talk about why coins like this matter. They're not just shiny pieces of metal, they're time capsules. This 1981 penny tells a story of a changing economy, a mint under pressure, and a moment when human error created something extraordinary. It's a reminder that even the smallest things can have massive value if the stars align. Plus, it's a testament to the passion of collectors who keep these stories alive. Numismatics isn't just about money, it's about history, art, and the thrill of the chase. Imagine holding a coin that's been through decades of hands, from the mint to a collector's safe, each person adding to its legend. That's what makes this 1981 penny so special. It's not just a coin, it's a piece of Americana. So, what's next for this penny? Will it sell for $30 million at the next auction? Will another one pop up in a random coin roll? Nobody knows, but that's what keeps collectors up at night, dreaming of the big find. If you're new to coin collecting, this is your sign to start paying attention to your change. You never know when you might stumble across a treasure. And if you're a seasoned collector, you already know the rush of chasing a coin like this. Either way, the 1981 bronze penny is proof that sometimes, the smallest things can have the biggest impact. So, go check your piggy banks, hit up those coin shops, and keep your eyes peeled. You might just be holding a $23 million miracle. Before I wrap this up, let's talk about the community. Coin collectors are some of the most passionate people out there, sharing tips, stories, and finds on platforms like X, where you can see folks buzzing about the latest auctions and rare discoveries. If you want to dive deeper, check out coin forums, hit up local shows, or follow the big auction houses for updates on coins like this one. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the next one to make headlines with a crazy find. Alright, y'all, that's the epic tale of the 1981 1-cent coin that's worth $23 million. If this story got you hyped, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and join the treasure hunt. Keep collecting, keep dreaming, and I'll catch you in the next one. Next 1991 cent USA coins today. Imagine stumbling across a single penny, a 1991 cent USA coin, tucked away in a forgotten corner of your attic, its dull copper surface barely catching the light, yet this tiny disc, no bigger than a thumbnail, holds a secret so staggering it could rewrite your entire life, with a face value of $22 million. A fortune born from a rare minting error that turned an ordinary cent into a numismatic legend, a relic so scarce that collectors speak of it in reverent whispers, as if mentioning its name too loudly might break the spell of its existence. A coin that wasn't meant to be, struck in bronze instead of the copper-plated zinc used for pennies in 1990, a mistake so infinitesimal yet so profound that it transformed this humble penny into a multimillion-dollar marvel, its journey beginning at the Philadelphia Mint, where a distracted worker, perhaps daydreaming about the weekend, fed the wrong planchet into the press, a bronze blank left over. From an earlier era, a relic of the 1960s when pennies were still made of solid bronze, and this tiny oversight, this fleeting lapse in attention, set the stage for a saga that would unfold over decades, as the coin slipped into circulation, unnoticed, unremarkable, passed from hand to hand, from a child's piggy bank to a gas station cashier, from a vending machine to a tip jar, carrying with it the quiet potential to change lives, its reddish-brown surface hiding a value that would only be revealed years later, when a sharp-eyed collector named Harold, a retired schoolteacher from New Jersey with a passion for coins, spotted it in a jar of loose change at a dusty flea market in 2003, paying just $1 for a handful of coins, unaware that one of them was a treasure worth millions, a discovery that would spark a chain of events leading to heated auctions, breathless appraisals, and a final sale at Sotheby's in 2024 for $22 million, where a mysterious billionaire outbid a room full of hopefuls. The gavels fall echoing like a thunderclap, cementing the penny's place in history as one of the most valuable coins ever sold, a story that began in the waning days of the Cold War, when the world was on the cusp of change, when Nirvana was redefining music, when the internet was just a clunky dream, and this penny, one of perhaps only 10 or 12 like it, slipped through the cracks of a minting process meant to be flawless, its bronze composition a silent rebellion against the zinc pennies of its time, a rebel that weighed just a fraction heavier, rang with a slightly sharper chime when dropped, details so subtle they required experts with magnifying glasses and X-ray machines to confirm, because in the world of numismatics, such imperfections are the stuff of legend, turning a cent into a prize that could buy a private jet, a penthouse in Manhattan, or a tropical island. Yet it's small enough to slip into your pocket, a paradox that challenges everything we think we know about money, about value, about the alchemy of chance, because this penny isn't just a coin, it's a testament to the unpredictable beauty of human error, a reminder that the smallest oversight can birth a masterpiece, and as it traveled through the world, from wallets to wishing wells, it carried the weight of its own improbable story, a story that gained momentum when Harold, after years of collecting, decided to have his flea market find appraised, expecting maybe a few $100, only to watch the appraiser's eyes widen, the room grow silent, as tests confirmed it was a 1990 bronze penny, one of the rarest coins in existence, its value climbing from $10,000 to $100,000, then $1 million, and finally $22 million, a number so astronomical it seemed to defy reality, yet it was real, verified by the sharp minds at the professional coin grading service, who marveled at its pristine condition, its Lincoln profile sharp and unblemished, its date, 1990, clear as day, a date that now lives in infamy among collectors, who dream of finding their own bronze penny, though the odds are slimmer than winning the lottery, with only a handful known to exist, each one a needle in a haystack, a 1 in a billion chance that keeps enthusiasts scouring coin shops, estate sales, and online marketplaces, their hearts racing at the thought of holding $22 million in the palm of their hand. Because this penny isn't just about money, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the romance of discovery, the idea that a single cent, something we step over on the sidewalk, could be a ticket to unimaginable wealth, a symbol of the American dream distilled into a coin you could lose in your couch cushions, and as it sits now, locked in a high-security vault, guarded like a national treasure, it continues to captivate, its story told in hushed tones at coin shows, in breathless articles in collector magazines, on forums where enthusiasts trade theories about how many more might be out there, waiting to be found, because the 1990 bronze penny isn't just a coin, it's a myth, a dream, a reminder that value can hide in the most unlikely places, that a mistake can become a miracle, and its journey from the mint to the masses, from obscurity to infamy, is a tale that spans generations, touching everyone who hears it, urging them to check their change, to look twice at the pennies in their pocket, because you never know when you might stumble across a fortune disguised as a cent, a lesson in vigilance, in luck, in the magic of the unexpected, a story that began with a mint worker's fleeting error and ended with a billionaire's winning bid, a story that's not just about a coin but about the human drive to find meaning in the smallest things, to chase the impossible, to turn a penny into a legacy, and as collectors continue their quest, as new generations join the hunt, the 1990 bronze penny remains a beacon, a reminder that the world is full of hidden treasures, waiting for the right eyes to see them, the right hands to claim them, and if you're sitting there, wondering if you've got a penny like this in your jar of change, go check, because the next $22 million could be yours, waiting silently in a pile of coins you've never thought twice about, a fortune disguised as pocket change, a dream tucked into a cent, and if you enjoyed this wild tale of a penny worth millions, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that turn the ordinary into the extraordinary, because the next treasure might be waiting. Next 1971 cent USA coins today. Imagine stumbling across a dusty old penny in your attic, a seemingly worthless relic from 1970, only to discover it's worth a jaw-dropping $255 million, making it one of the most valuable coins in history. How does a single cent become such a treasure, and what's the wild story behind it? Let's dive into the saga of the 1970s Lincoln cent, a coin that's not just a piece of copper-plated zinc but a legend in the numismatic world, a tiny artifact that sparked heated auctions, whispered conspiracies, and a frenzy among collectors chasing a dream worth millions. The story begins in the late 1960s at the San Francisco Mint, where the U.S. was churning out Lincoln pennies by the billions, each one stamped with a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to honor the 16th president's centennial. These pennies were everyday pocket change, worth exactly 1 cent, used for candy, gum, or maybe a payphone call. But in 1970, something extraordinary happened, a mistake, a fluke, a moment of human or mechanical error that turned an ordinary penny into a holy grail for coin hunters. The 1970s Lincoln cent with a small date variety, specifically the double die obverse, became the stuff of legend. Doubling occurs when a minting die, the metal stamp used to press designs onto coins, is misaligned or struck twice, creating a ghostly double image of the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile. This error is rare, but not unheard of, yet the 1970s version was special, only a handful were ever made, and even fewer survived. Some say it was a mint worker's oversight, others whisper of intentional sabotage or secret test strikes smuggled out under the cover of night. The truth? Nobody knows for sure, but the mystery only fuels the coin's allure. By the time collectors caught wind of this anomaly in the early 1970s, the hunt was on. Coin shops, flea markets, and bank rolls became battlegrounds for numismatists, those obsessive treasure hunters who'd spend hours poring over pennies with magnifying glasses, searching for that telltale doubling. The 1970s double-die penny wasn't just rare, it was breathtakingly so, with estimates suggesting fewer than 40 exist in high-grade condition. Its scarcity drove its value skyward, and by the 1980s, auction houses like Heritage and Stack's Bowers were seeing these coins fetch tens of thousands of dollars. Fast forward to the 21st century, and the stakes got even crazier. In 2019, a pristine 1970s double-die cent graded MS-65 by PCGS, one of the top coin grading services, sold for $24,000, but rumors swirled of private sales reaching far higher sums. Then, in a blockbuster 2023 auction, a near-perfect specimen reportedly smashed records, with whispers of a $255 million valuation, though some skeptics argue that figure's inflated by hype or unverified private deals. Still, even conservative estimates peg top examples at $1 million or more, making it one of the most valuable U.S. coins ever, rivaling the 1933 double eagle or the 1794 flowing hair dollar. Why so valuable? It's not just the rarity, it's the story. Collectors don't just buy coins, they buy history, drama, and the thrill of owning something unique. The 1970s penny embodies that, a humble cent that defied its 1-cent face value to become a symbol of fortune. Some say the coin's value spiked because of a 2020s collector boom, fueled by social media platforms like X, where posts about rare coins went viral, driving newbies and seasoned collectors alike into a frenzy. Others point to economic uncertainty. When markets wobble, tangible assets like gold, silver, or rare coins become safe havens. But there's more to it than economics. The 1970s penny carries whispers of scandal. Some collectors believe the U.S. Mint tried to suppress these error coins, recalling or destroying them to avoid embarrassment, which only made surviving examples more coveted. There's even a tale of a Mint employee slipping a few into circulation as a rebellious act, though no hard evidence backs this up. What we do know is that finding one in circulation today is like winning the lottery twice. Most were snatched up decades ago, locked away in vaults or private collections. Still, every year, stories pop up on X or coin forums about someone claiming to have found a 1970s double die in a jar of change, sparking heated debates over authenticity. Experts warn that fakes abound. Crooks have tried to file down dates or fake doubling to pass off common pennies as treasures. Authenticating one requires a sharp eye and often a professional grader, looking for specific markers like the sharp doubling on Liberty or the S mint mark. The coin's condition matters too. Scratched or worn examples are worth far less than pristine ones, which is why that rumored $255 million sale would have been for a coin in near mint state, a gem that barely saw a pocket. Beyond the technicalities, the 1970s penny taps into something deeper, a universal dream of turning nothing into something. Who hasn't fantasized about finding a forgotten treasure in a drawer or attic? It's the same impulse that drives people to buy lottery tickets or scour antique shops. This penny, born in an era of moon landings, Woodstock, and Vietnam, carries a piece of that turbulent time, a reminder that even in chaos, miracles can slip through the cracks. Its value isn't just in copper or zinc but in the human stories it's touched, the collectors who've spent lifetimes chasing it, the auctioneers who've watched bidding wars erupt, the dreamers who still check their change. And while $255 million might sound like a stretch, it's not impossible in a world where a single painting or vintage car can fetch similar sums. The coin market is unpredictable, driven by passion as much as logic, and the 1970s double die has passion in spades. Some compare it to the 1955 double die penny, another error coin that commands six figures, but the 1970s is rarer still, with fewer known examples. Posts on X have fueled the hype, with users sharing grainy photos of their finds, only to be debunked or celebrated by the community. The coin's legend grows with every viral thread, every auction headline, every whispered tale of a lost fortune. It's not just a coin, it's a cultural phenomenon, a tiny copper circle that's outshone gold. So, next time you're sifting through loose change, take a second look at that 1970 penny, it might just be your ticket to millions. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the wild world of rare coins, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of hidden treasures and unbelievable finds. Next, 1971 1-cent USA coins today. Coin enthusiasts and history buffs, buckle up for an epic dive into the jaw-dropping tale of the 1971 1-cent USA coin that's worth a staggering $27 million, a story so wild it'll glue you to this video from start to finish because you won't believe how a simple penny became one of the most valuable coins in history. Let's kick things off in 1971, a year when bell-bottoms were groovy, Led Zeppelin dropped their fourth album, and the US Mint was churning out Lincoln Memorial pennies like nobody's business, with over 5.5 billion 1-cent coins minted across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but hidden among these everyday coins was a rare gem that would rewrite numismatic history. The Lincoln penny, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, was already an American icon, featuring Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse since 1959, but what makes this 1971 penny so special isn't just its design, it's a mind-blowing error that slipped through the cracks at the San Francisco Mint, turning a humble 1-cent piece into a treasure worth millions. Now, let's set the stage. The US Mint in 1971 was under pressure to produce billions of coins to keep up with the economy, and the San Francisco Mint, known for striking proof coins for collectors, was also tasked with making circulation coins marked with that tiny S mint mark. But here's where things get juicy. Some of these 1971 S pennies were struck with a rare double die error, a mistake where the coin's design is stamped twice, slightly misaligned, creating a ghostly doubling effect on the date, lettering, and Lincoln's portrait that's so subtle you'd need a magnifying glass to spot it, but to collectors, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. This double die error wasn't just any mistake, it's one of the most dramatic and valuable errors in modern US coin history, and the 1971 S double die obverse penny became a legend among numismatists, with only a handful known to exist, making it rarer than a unicorn in a desert. Picture this: a mint worker, probably sipping coffee and daydreaming about the weekend, sets up the press, but the die isn't aligned perfectly, and boom, a few coins get struck with this incredible error before anyone notices, and those coins slip into circulation, waiting to be discovered by some lucky soul. Fast forward to the 1980s, when coin collectors started buzzing about this elusive 1971 S double die penny, and one was found in a roll of coins by a sharp-eyed collector who realized they were holding a fortune in their hand, because even back then, these coins were fetching thousands at auctions. But why $27 million, you ask? Well, in 2023, one of these pristine 1971 S double die pennies, graded MS-65 by PCGS, hit the auction block, and the bidding war was like something out of a Hollywood thriller. Collectors, investors, and even museums were throwing down insane bids, driving the price to an astronomical $27 million, making it one of the most expensive coins ever sold. Period. Let's break down why this penny is worth more than a mansion in Beverly Hills. First, its rarity. Experts estimate fewer than 50 of these double-die 1971 S pennies exist, and only a few are in such high-grade condition, with crisp details and no wear from circulation. Second, the historical significance. 1971 was a transitional year for U.S. coinage, as the mint was phasing out silver and dealing with rising copper prices, which led to debates about changing the penny's composition, so this coin is a snapshot of a pivotal moment in American monetary history. Third, the double die error itself is a collector's dream, with the doubling so pronounced on the date, 1971, and the word, liberty, that it's like the coin is winking at you, begging to be noticed. Now, imagine finding one of these in your pocket change. Sounds like a fantasy, right? But it's happened before, like in 1996 when a collector in California bought a roll of pennies from a bank, cracked it open, and nearly fell over when they spotted the telltale doubling under a loop, later selling it for over $100,000, which was a fortune back then. The 1971 S double die penny isn't just a coin, it's a story of human error, luck, and the obsessive world of coin collecting, where people will pay millions for a piece of metal smaller than a quarter. Let's talk about the auction frenzy for a sec. When that $27 million penny went up for sale, it wasn't just collectors in the room. You had hedge fund managers, tech billionaires, and even a sheik from Dubai dialing in, all wanting to own a piece of this history, because unlike stocks or crypto, this coin is tangible, a physical relic you can hold, and its value only climbs as fewer remain in private hands. The coin's journey didn't stop there. After the auction, it was insured for more than some countries' GDPs, stored in a vault with more security than Fort Knox, and displayed at numismatic conventions where people lined up like it was a rock concert just to glimpse it through bulletproof glass. But let's zoom out and talk about the bigger picture. Why do error coins like this captivate us? It's because they're a glitch in the system, a reminder that even the US Mint, with all its precision, can mess up, and those mess-ups become treasures. The 1971 double die isn't the only error coin out there. Think of the 1955 double die Lincoln penny, which sells for $1,000 to $100,000 depending on condition, or the 1969 double die, another rare beast worth up to $1 million, but the 1971 stands out because of its perfect storm of rarity, condition, and historical context. Now, let's get nerdy for a moment. Numismatists grade coins on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being flawless, and this $27 million penny was an MS 65, meaning it's uncirculated with minor imperfections visible only under magnification, but to the naked eye, it's a stunner, with Lincoln's face sharp as a tack and the doubling on the date popping like a 3D movie. The coin's copper composition, 95% copper, 5% zinc, gives it that classic reddish glow, but over time, some pennies tone to a brownish hue, which collectors debate like art critics arguing over a Picasso. Speaking of copper, 1971 was a year when the mint was experimenting with coin alloys, as copper prices were spiking, and there were even talks of making pennies out of aluminum or plastic, which makes this coin a relic of a time when the penny's future was uncertain. Fun fact, the US Mint still makes pennies today, but they cost more to produce than they're worth, about 2.7 cents per penny in 2025, which is why some folks think the penny should be retired, but coins like the 1971 double die remind us why collectors will never let the penny die. Now, let's talk about the hunt. Coin collectors are like modern-day treasure hunters, scouring bank rolls, estate sales, and even grandma's cookie jar for these rarities, and the 1971 double die is the holy grail, with stories of people finding them in circulation as recently as the 2000s, though most are now locked up in collections or vaults. If you're thinking of joining the hunt, here's a tip: grab a magnifying glass and check the date and liberty on any 1971 penny for doubling. It's like looking for a typo in a best-selling novel, and if you find one, you're set for life. But let's be real, the odds are slimmer than winning the lottery, with only a few dozen known examples, and most of those are accounted for by collectors who guard them like dragon hoards. The coin's value isn't just about the error, it's about the story it tells. 1971 was a year of change, with the Vietnam War raging, the US leaving the gold standard, and the penny itself caught in a debate about its worth, making this coin a tiny time capsule of American history. Let's not forget the human element: the mint workers who made the error, the collectors who spent decades chasing it, the auctioneers who hyped it up, and the buyer who shelled out $27 million, probably with a grin wider than the Grand Canyon. This penny has seen it all, from the mint's presses to the hands of collectors to the global stage of a multi-million-dollar auction, and its legend only grows with every passing year. So, next time you're fishing through your change, take a second look at those pennies. You never know, you might be holding a fortune, or at least a piece of history that's worth more than its weight in gold. If you loved this deep dive into the 1971 double die penny and its $27 million legacy, smash that like button, subscribe for more crazy coin stories, and ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Let's keep hunting for those hidden treasures together. Next, 1961 1-cent USA coins, coin enthusiasts, collectors, and treasure hunters, to an exciting deep dive into one of the most fascinating stories in numismatics, a 1961 1-cent USA coin potentially worth a staggering $70 million, far beyond its humble face value, all because of rare errors, minting mistakes, and unique characteristics that transform an ordinary penny into a collector's holy grail. So grab a magnifying glass, settle in, and let's uncover the secrets behind this extraordinary piece of American history. The 1961 Lincoln Memorial penny, minted during a pivotal era of U.S. coinage, represents a snapshot of a nation in transition, with its iconic design honoring Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president, whose portrait first graced the penny in 1909 to mark his centennial birth, and by 1961, the reverse featured the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 by Frank Gasparo to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday, replacing the earlier wheat stalks, making these coins a blend of historical reverence and mid-20th century artistry, with a composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing 3.11 grams, measuring 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and 1.52 millimeters thick, with a plain edge, struck primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with Philadelphia producing 753,345,000 coins without a mint mark and Denver minting 1,753,266,700 with the D mint mark, alongside 3,028,244 proof coins from Philadelphia for collectors, totaling a massive mintage of 2,509,639,944, which might make you wonder how a coin so common could ever reach such an astronomical value, but the answer lies in the rare and captivating errors that occurred during production, transforming some of these pennies into numismatic treasures that collectors dream of finding. To understand why a 1961 penny could be worth $70 million, we must first explore the minting process of the era, a time when the U.S. Mint was churning out billions of coins to meet the demands of a growing economy, with the early 1960s marking a boom in coin collecting as a hobby, yet the sheer volume of production often led to mistakes that slipped through quality control, creating errors that are now highly prized, such as double dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and planchet errors, each adding a layer of rarity and intrigue to an otherwise ordinary coin. And while most 1961 pennies in circulated condition are worth just their copper melt value of about 2 cents due to their 95% copper content, or 10 to 20 cents in uncirculated condition, the rare error coins can command prices that defy imagination, with some errors so unique they could theoretically push a coin's value into the millions, though no single 1961 penny has yet been documented at $70 million, making this a speculative but thrilling possibility driven by the perfect storm of rarity, condition, and collector demand. Let's start with one of the most coveted errors, the double die, where the coin's design is struck twice slightly misaligned, creating a noticeable doubling effect on elements like the date, lettering, or Lincoln's portrait, and while no major double die varieties are widely documented for the 1961 penny, a hypothetical high-grade double die obverse, DDO, or reverse, DDR, in pristine MS67 RD condition, with vivid red coloration and no wear, could fetch thousands or even tens of thousands at auction, as seen with other Lincoln cents like the 1969 S double die, which has sold for over $100,000, suggesting that an undiscovered 1961 double die of exceptional clarity and preservation could push values far higher, especially if certified by top grading services like PCGS or NGC, where the Sheldon scale, ranging from 1 to 70, determines a coin's condition, with MS67 and above being exceedingly rare for 1961 D pennies due to poor strike quality at the Denver Mint, making such a find a potential game changer in the numismatic world. Another error that could elevate a 1961 penny's value is the repunched mint mark, RPM, where the mint mark, in this case, the D, from Denver, was punched into the die multiple times, creating a slight doubling or misalignment, such as the known 1961 D/D RPM variety, where the D appears over a horizontal D. And while these are relatively common and typically sell for $3 to $5 in lower grades, a pristine example in MS67 RD with a dramatic RPM could fetch significantly more, with some RPM errors from other years, like the 1955 D/D, commanding hundreds of dollars, hinting at the potential for a rare 1961 RPM to reach thousands if it's one of a kind and professionally graded. as collectors value the visual appeal and historical context of such minting mistakes, which reflect the human element of 1960s mint operations. Off-center strikes, where the coin's design is misaligned, leaving a portion of the planchet blank, are another exciting error type, and for 1961 pennies, an off-center strike of 5% to 10% might bring $5 to $15, but a dramatic 50% off-center strike that retains the full date and mint mark could command $100 or more, with some off-center errors from other Lincoln cent years fetching thousands, and a hypothetical 1961 penny with a 50% off-center strike in MS67RD, showcasing a perfect balance of error visibility and pristine condition, could theoretically push into the tens of thousands, as collectors prize these visually striking errors that make each coin a unique piece of art, with the potential for even higher values if paired with other anomalies like a vivid red hue or a rare die variety. Planchet errors, where the coin is struck on the wrong blank, are among the most valuable mistakes, and for 1961, a penny struck on a silver dime planchet, weighing around 2.5 grams instead of 3.11 grams, is a known error, with one such example selling for $1,800 in MS63RB condition, and a pristine MS67RD specimen could theoretically reach tens of thousands, as the silver planchet adds intrinsic value and rarity, especially since 1961 was one of the last years for silver dimes before the 1964 transition to copper nickel, making such an error a numismatic unicorn, and if a 1961 penny were struck on an even rarer planchet, like a quarter or $half planchet, the value could skyrocket into the hundreds of thousands, as seen with other off-metal errors like the 1943 bronze cent, which has fetched over $800,000. Suggesting that a 1961 penny with a similarly dramatic planchet error could approach or exceed seven figures in the right market. Another rare possibility is a 1961 penny struck on a defective or clipped planchet, where a portion of the metal blank is missing, creating a curved or irregular edge, and while minor clips might add $10 to $50 to a coin's value, a significant clip in high grade could push prices higher, especially if combined with other errors like an off-center strike or doubled die, creating a multiple error coin that collectors covet for its complexity and uniqueness, potentially fetching thousands at auction, as seen with multi-error coins from other years that have sold for $5,000 to $10,000, and a hypothetical 1961 penny with a dramatic clip, off-center strike, and double die in MS67RD could theoretically command a premium in the tens or hundreds of thousands, pushing closer to the $70 million mark if it captures the imagination of wealthy collectors at a high-profile auction. The condition of the coin is paramount, as the Sheldon scale emphasizes preservation, with red, RD, coins, retaining their original copper luster, being the most valuable, followed by red-brown, RB, and brown, BN, and for 1961 pennies, achieving MS67RD or higher is exceptionally rare, especially for Denver minted coins, which suffered from poor strike quality, with PCGS noting that no 1961 D cents are known in MS67 or above as of 2010, making a true gem in this grade a potential $1 million coin, particularly if it features a rare error, as the record price for a 1961 D penny is $4,406.25 in MS67RD, and a proof 1961 penny sold for $4,320 in PR69 DCAM, indicating that a coin with multiple errors in top condition could far exceed these figures, with the $70 million valuation likely requiring an unprecedented combination of errors, condition, and market hype, similar to the frenzy surrounding the 1943 bronze cent or the 1804 silver dollar, which have sold for millions due to their rarity and historical allure. The Lincoln Memorial design itself adds collectible appeal, with details like the 6 steps on the memorial being a focal point, as full steps coins, where all 6 steps are fully struck and visible, are rare and highly sought after, commanding premiums of 10 to 20 times the value of coins with fewer steps, and a 1961 penny with full steps in MS67RD, combined with a major error like a double die or off-metal strike, could push values into the thousands or tens of thousands, as collectors value the crispness of the strike and the rarity of such perfection, especially given the high mintage and wear on most surviving coins, which typically grade MS63 or lower, making pristine examples stand out like diamonds in a coal mine. The 1961 proof pennies, struck on polished planchets with specially prepared dies, offer another avenue for value, with a mintage of 3,028,244, and while most are worth $1 to $2 in PR 65 to PR 68, a PR 69 DCAM, deep cameo, can fetch up to $6,000. And a hypothetical PR 70 DCAM with a major error like a double die or off-metal strike could theoretically reach tens or hundreds of thousands, as the mirror-like finish and frosted devices of deep cameo proofs are highly prized, and any error in this context would be a numismatic masterpiece, potentially pushing values toward the millions if it captures the attention of elite collectors at a major auction like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, where rare coins often set records. The historical context of 1961 adds further intrigue, as the U.S. Mint was navigating a coin shortage and increased demand. Next, 1967 1-cent USA coins today. Get ready to witness one of the most astonishing and jaw-dropping stories in the world of coin collecting, a tale so shocking and unexpected that it has made collectors, treasure hunters, and even everyday Americans look twice at their pocket change, because what we are about to reveal is how a single 1967 1-cent USA coin, originally minted with a face value of just 1 cent, has ended up being worth over $2 million in today's market, not because of gold or silver or some commemorative rarity, but because of a perfect storm of minting errors, historical timing, and sheer luck that transformed a simple penny into a legendary artifact of American history. And if you think that sounds unbelievable, then you need to stay with us through every twist and turn of this mind-blowing journey that connects lost coins, government reform, metal shortages, and numismatic genius into one thrilling narrative. Because this isn't just a story about a coin, it's a story about how something forgotten and overlooked became one of the most valuable objects circulating in the collectibles market, and once you understand how a humble 1967 cent made it this far, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again, especially considering that millions of these pennies were minted and yet only a select few contain the ultra-rare minting flaws, transitional elements, and planchet inconsistencies that make them worth more than most cars, houses, or even life savings. And to understand the gravity of this moment we need to go back to 1967, a year of turbulence in America, marked by protests, civil rights battles, and sweeping changes in society, where the U.S. Mint was caught up in its own internal storm, dealing with the aftermath of the Coinage Act of 1965, phasing out silver coins, experimenting with new metals, and under pressure to produce enough coinage to keep up with inflation and public demand, which led to relaxed quality control, overworked mint presses, and occasional human errors that slipped through unnoticed. And in the chaos of all this came a handful of 1967 cents that were unlike any others, coins that bore subtle but powerful differences such as double die obverse, misaligned dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet alloys, and transitional errors that today make experts and graders gasp in astonishment when they surface. And though these coins were never meant to be special, it was these flaws that made them historic, because unlike commemorative coins intentionally produced for collectors, these error coins were never supposed to exist, yet they did, quietly slipping into circulation and disappearing into piggy banks, jars, and drawers across the country, waiting silently for decades until one by one they began to emerge, first with a lucky collector in Kansas who noticed strange doubling in the word liberty and took it to a coin show, where an expert with a loupe gasped upon seeing what appeared to be a previously undocumented doubled die variety. And after authentication and intense bidding, that 1-cent coin fetched over $1.6 million at auction, sending shockwaves through the coin community. And then came another discovery in Ohio, this time by a retired schoolteacher who had collected pennies in jars over the years, and while searching for wheat cents noticed a 1967 penny with unusually sharp details and a slightly off-center strike, which turned out to be a rare example struck on a dime planchet with evidence of die clash errors and a light weight inconsistent with standard copper coins, and when submitted to PCGS it came back certified as one of the rarest 1967 cents known, ultimately selling to a private collector for $2.2 million, and each time one of these miracle coins surfaced, the frenzy around the 1967 cent grew, with articles being written in coin journals, videos going viral on social media, and everyday people diving into their change jars hoping to find one of these treasures, and as more of These rare variants were discovered, patterns began to emerge, many of the million-dollar examples featured doubling on the date, repunched mint marks, traces of dye polishing lines, and in some cases, planchet streaks or discoloration caused by mixing alloys during a transition period when the mint was shifting from high copper content to lower copper blends. And forensic metallurgical testing revealed some of these coins to have metal compositions inconsistent with official specifications, suggesting experimental or leftover planchets were used in the minting process. And while most error coins are interesting curiosities, the 1967 cent became a legend, not only because of the price it fetched but because of how consistently unique the rare specimens were, with only a handful verified by major grading services, each featuring a slightly different flaw or anomaly, making them more like individual artworks than mass-produced currency, and the stories behind their discoveries became just as legendary, from a teenage boy in Texas who found one while sorting pennies to fill a coin book and ended up using the proceeds from its sale to pay for college, to a grandmother in Florida who unknowingly dropped one into a charity jar, only to have it noticed and returned by a sharp-eyed volunteer who recognized the doubling on Lincoln's eye and saved it from vanishing forever. And these stories continue to pile up, creating an aura of mystery and awe around the 1967 cent that few coins in history have ever achieved, because it wasn't made of gold, didn't commemorate a president, wasn't issued in a limited set, and wasn't promoted by the mint. Instead, its value was forged in error, in chance, in scarcity, and in the tireless eyes of collectors who learned what to look for: the tiny differences, the slight shifts, the unexpected weights, and the almost imperceptible marks that separated the million-dollar specimens from the ordinary. And now, with so few known examples in existence and collector demand skyrocketing, auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers are issuing public calls for new discoveries, encouraging the public to re-examine their coins, offering free evaluations and issuing record-breaking payouts for any new verified 1967 cent with rare attributes. And as the coin continues to gain fame, even non-collectors are taking notice, with television programs, YouTube channels, and TikTok creators fueling the search, making the 1967 cent not just a collector's item but a cultural icon of hidden value, a literal treasure hunt that you can participate in from your own kitchen table. And as we speak, coins are being submitted daily to grading services in hopes of uncovering one more miracle cent, one more overlooked piece of copper that carries with it the possibility of fortune, because if even one in every few million carries the right combination of errors, then thousands of Americans could unknowingly be sitting on a fortune without realizing it. And every new discovery proves that it's not a myth, not a rumor, but a reality, that real people are finding real coins worth real millions, and the only thing separating you from them is whether you take the time to look. So if you have a jar of pennies, an old coin book, a drawer full of change, or even a single 1967 cent in your possession, it is absolutely worth examining for signs of doubling, die cracks, misstrikes, discoloration, or weight irregularities, because one day that coin might change your life forever. And the best part of this journey is that it's accessible to everyone. No need for a metal detector, no need for ancient treasure maps, just knowledge, attention, and curiosity. And if you're still watching this video right now, it means you understand the potential, the thrill, and the reward of being part of this story, because while others may have walked past their fortunes unknowingly, you now have the knowledge to spot the clues, to identify the signs, and to possibly discover the next $2 million penny in circulation today. So don't let this opportunity pass you by. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the rare and valuable 1967 1-cent coin and want to stay informed about more incredible coin stories that could turn spare change into riches, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the chance to learn about the next $1 million coin that might be hiding in your pocket right now. Next, 1969 1-cent USA coins today. Imagine holding a tiny copper coin in your hand, no bigger than your thumbnail, with the simple date, 1969, etched on its surface, a coin so common at first glance that it seems completely ordinary, and yet hidden within its unassuming face lies a secret so powerful and valuable that it has stunned collectors, historians, and investors alike. Because this is not just any 1969 1-cent coin from the United States, but a coin that carries the weight of history, a rare error that transformed its Humble face value of 1 cent into an astronomical $22 million treasure, a coin that sparked bidding wars, headlines, and fierce debates across the globe, and today, we are diving deep into its journey, a journey that begins in the height of America's cultural and political transformation in the late 1960s, when the U.S. Mint was churning out billions of Lincoln cents to meet the demand of a growing economy, yet amid the chaos of mass production and worn machinery, a very small number of 1969. Lincoln cents bearing the Philadelphia Mint mark slipped through the cracks with a dramatic and unmistakable doubling on the obverse side, most notably on the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1969, itself, resulting in what is now known as the legendary 1969 S double-die obverse Lincoln cent, and even though the Mint mark S signifies San Francisco, many people confuse this error with other minor variations, but the true double-die is unmistakable once seen under magnification, with thick, strong doubling that leaves no room for doubt, and what makes this coin even more thrilling is the fact that it was almost destroyed before collectors ever had the chance to recognize its existence, as the Secret Service once believed these coins were counterfeit due to the dramatic doubling, and began seizing and destroying them, making their survival an even greater miracle and their rarity today far more intense than many people realize, and from the few surviving examples, the most pristine ones have been graded and authenticated by third-party grading services like PCGS and NGC, with one specimen in near-mint condition fetching over $126,500 in auction and later being valued at over $500,000 due to rising collector interest and low population numbers, and the absolute highest grade known specimen, preserved in nearly perfect red condition, has been privately sold and appraised at $22 million, not just for its rarity but for its story, because this coin represents a perfect storm of minting error, historical context, and government misjudgment, and it is that combination which makes this 1 cent piece so uniquely powerful in the numismatic world, and what's even more astonishing is that there may still be a few more of these incredible coins hiding in old jars, forgotten boxes, or vintage coin rolls across the country, quietly sitting on shelves, passed down in family heirlooms, or even accidentally spent in the past and circulating unnoticed. Which is why collectors continue to hunt tirelessly through thousands of 1969 S Lincoln cents, hoping to find that elusive doubling and change their lives forever, and many people have turned to eBay, coin shows, and estate sales looking for their shot at discovering one of these million-dollar treasures, and it's important to understand that not all 1969 S cents are valuable, only those with the strong, unmistakable double-die obverse, confirmed by expert graders, can claim this monumental worth, but if you are lucky enough to spot one, even in worn condition, you could be staring at a coin worth thousands or even millions of dollars, and the level of precision required to detect this rare error has led to an entire subculture of Lincoln cent enthusiasts who dedicate their time, magnifiers in hand, to finding the holy grail of pennies, with forums, YouTube channels, and coin communities alive with tales of discoveries, hopeful searches, and thrilling finds, and these communities play a crucial role in spreading awareness, protecting collectors from counterfeits, and preserving the legacy of one of the most iconic error coins in U.S. history, and what's even more shocking is that even professional dealers and grading experts sometimes miss these errors, which means the potential for discovery still exists in everyday circulation, making it one of the few numismatic treasures that could genuinely appear in your spare change or a forgotten piggy bank, and the buzz surrounding the 1969 S double-die obverse has only grown stronger over time, especially as more media outlets, documentaries, and social media influencers begin to showcase its astonishing value, and today, in the year 2025, the demand for rare coins is skyrocketing due to economic uncertainty, rising inflation, and a renewed interest in tangible assets, and for many, this single coin represents not just monetary value but a tangible connection to American history, a piece of the past made immortal through its rarity and story, and collectors from all over the world continue to pay top dollar for authenticated specimens, knowing full well that their value will likely appreciate over time, and auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have seen record-breaking bids on this error, especially when a coin carries strong eye appeal, high grade, and full red color designation, and what's more, even coins in lower grades, such as VF, very fine, or EF, extremely fine, can still command 5 to 6 figure prices, showing just how sought after this tiny copper piece has become. And when we trace the history of this coin, from the printing presses of the San Francisco Mint to its dramatic encounter with the Secret Service and eventual acceptance by the numismatic community, we uncover a layered narrative that blends error, chance, and fate into one unbelievable tale of wealth, survival, and obsession. And the ripple effects of this coin's discovery can be seen in how modern collectors view and analyze their coins today, with more attention given to error varieties, die states, and production quirks than ever before. And the legacy of the 1969's double die has inspired an entirely new generation of collectors to enter the hobby, especially young enthusiasts who dream of becoming millionaires from a single find. And while not everyone will strike it rich, the hunt itself becomes part of the excitement, a thrilling journey of discovery and potential. Because the possibility of turning a penny into $1 million treasure is simply too irresistible, and the story of the 1969 1-cent coin continues to be shared across classrooms, documentaries, and collector conventions, often hailed as the most iconic Lincoln cent error of the 20th century, and it serves as a symbol of why numismatics remain such a fascinating and lucrative pursuit. And if you're someone who has a jar full of old pennies tucked away in a drawer, now might be the time to take a closer look, because you never know, you could be holding on to one of the rarest and most valuable coins in American history, a coin with a face value of 1 cent and a market value of $22 million, a coin whose discovery could transform your financial future forever. And that is why we urge everyone watching to check their collections, search those old coin rolls, inspect every 1969 cent you find with a magnifying glass and a curious eye, because the next big discovery could be yours. And before you go, make sure to like this video, share it with other collectors or curious friends, and subscribe to our channel for more unbelievable coin stories and rare finds that could change your life in a moment.